Greetings, Lifeforms. Today I'm using these videos for a noble cause, and what I've actually started this series to do. Today, you're going to answer a very interesting question. One that I really don't know too much about myself, even though I've wondered it for a while. I never really took the time to research it. But not anymore. Today, I, and therefore you, are going to do a little research about one of the first questions anybody should really have when it comes to Christianity. Why did it supposedly take 6 days for an all-powerful, all-knowing, omnipotent, omnipresent, whatever the fuck, God to create the universe? And, if possible, why did he have to rest on a 7th day? And, for that matter, if we get around to it, how could there be time before there was a sun and an earth to, because, humans created time, it's all based on that. Without that, how do you have days? So, let's see what we can dig up, eh? To the shit mines, which translates to Google, to shit mine. The first result for why did it take 7 days for God to create in Google was a website called godandscience.org, a potential gold mine just based on the name. I know some people would consider these words polar opposites, and yeah, I'm serious about this site being a gold mine. They have a whole section of links to articles about, as they put it, answers to contradictions in the Bible. That alone sounds like a gold mine, and that's just one part of this place. Fuck gold, this could be a damn diamond mine of content. I could probably have a whole year's worth of videos from this place, maybe more. But that's later, this is now. And now, we have a mission. So let's get back to it. The introduction to the article presents our question. It's actually surprising how seemingly professional this is. This could be interesting. And if I'm being completely honest, I'm not bullshitting around or being sarcastic. I'm actually genuinely curious and interested in this website. Because not only does it present our question of why did God take 7 days, it takes it a step further to a point that I actually kind of ignored. Because I usually think of young Earth creationists, not old Earth. Maybe I need to change that. They pose the question of why did God wait billions of years to make the Earth after creating the universe? I've never actually heard a Christian address this, or even an atheist for that matter. And again, I watch atheists who usually go after the crazy and or stupid for the lulz. So I guess that question might be too reasonable for me to encounter without having to do the work myself. And that's not bashing anybody, trust me. I get it. There's no point in debating the actual rules because you're not going to get anywhere. Just point and laugh at the crazies. But I digress. Hopefully they actually pose an answer to the questions that they state. If they do, of course I'm going to cover it. Moving on to the next part of the article, titled, Does Time Matter to God? Actually makes me a bit annoyed. That question is irrelevant. The Bible said God took 6 days and rested on the 7th. Therefore, regardless of if time mattered to God, he was affected by it. His creation was in a time frame. And a strangely long one, as I mentioned. But it does address the issue. It basically says God waited so long to create us and the earth because stars are pretty. No. Seriously. It says God waited so we could see the beauty of the heavens, so to speak. And also because of a verse in Psalms that says the heavens show the glory of God, so it's another ego trip for the invisible guy who seems to want us to think he doesn't exist. How weird. And also applies similar logic to our main question as well. It says if God didn't wait to create life, there would be no fossils. Wait. What? And therefore we couldn't say them see God's work. But what? I'm so confused. It's saying it wasn't 7 days then. It's completely ignoring the question. I guess it's just using the metaphor argument. It literally is throwing Genesis out the fucking window. Is this all going to be redundant? This entire article? This whole fucking video, maybe? Metaphor, so ignore? That's it? No. Unacceptable. I'm going to keep looking. There's a lot left to this article, so maybe they'll explain better. Wait. Why did God wait 13.8 billion years to create human beings? The purpose of creation, why an ancient Earth? And conclusion. Do they really not address the main question of the article any more than that? The whole reason I'm here? The title of the damn article? Okay, let me look for a second. Nope. Nothing. Not a damn bit more about the 7 days thing. Just time is irrelevant to God, metaphors to ignore, unrelated to the main question stuff. Take back what I said. This seems very unprofessional, but not surprising. Alright, let's try somewhere else. Maybe I do need a crazy person to try to answer this. At least then I get a better answer, or at least a more entertaining excuse. Oh, here we go. Why did God take 6 days? An article on AnswersinGenesis.org, written by the wonderful Ken Ham. Alright, let's get the jokes about his name out of the way. I wonder if his meat is kosher. It's a good thing he's not a cop. Does he call his penis his salami? I hope he goes to hell. He needs to be nice and cooked. Can Muslims say his name? Does he know Porky Pig? Does he pork Porky Pig? Alright. I think I've made enough horrible jokes. Back to the seriousness, let's call it, and cut into the meat of this article. Ah, damn it. I can't stop the puns. It's not my fault. Okay. I'm good. And so is this fucking article. Why? Because it literally says everything in the last one is bullshit. Or rather, big shit. It point blank says that they were indeed literal days. And the best part was, I didn't even do this on purpose. They were literally the first 2 I checked. And they contradict each other. Well, this makes my job... using that term loosely. Well, it makes it easier than it already was anyway. Another thing I didn't realize was just how much of a fucking headache this article and site in general would give me. Seriously. Just an average everyday non-defined creature, let's say. Is that safe enough though? Is that PC enough? Creature? But even I know this is a load of pig shit. Alright, enough with the damn puns. This website is a headache-inducing mess, and not because it's smart and therefore hard to follow. No, it's not God punishing me for my sin of disbelief or whatever Jack Chick and probably Ken Ham would call it. There's just so much pointless, wrong, contradictory, or hypocritical nonsense packed into each article. I am sure that this site is a golden, jewel-encrusted turd mine, but honestly, I don't have the intelligence or patience to tackle most of this alone, especially not this early on in my career, let's call it. Maybe if I had someone big enough to help me out here, some sort of collab, I could maybe do it. I mean, Logic's good buddy Nehemiah is referenced in one article. Maybe he'd help me out here. But for now, let's just mine through this shit. I don't mean quote mine. I'm not Kent Hovind. Jeez, I name drop a lot, don't I? Anyway, the article starts out with a quote that is just great. When people accept at face value what Genesis is teaching and accept the days as ordinary days, they will have no problem understanding what the rest of Genesis is all about. I love this quote. Let me translate it and put it into proper English. When people take what we say Genesis says at face value and don't research it for themselves, they will have no problem being brainwashed about what we say the rest of the Bible is all about. Because we know the real truth of God's words. Nobody else does. So apparently, Ken Ham knows with absolute certainty that God's days were not metaphors, which means the other article was wrong because he says so. Which I guess means I wasted your time, losers. Who am I kidding? I'm still wasting your time. But first, let me just say how I know this is the more right article. There's more words. More words means more right. And I say so it's right. Anyway, enough stalling. Like I said, the article asserts that they are literal days. Why? Because words can't be metaphors the first time they're used. No, seriously. That's what the crackpot says. Even though the word had to exist before the being in the Bible to have its literal meaning in the Bible. Ken, listen. Just because it's the supposed beginning of the universe, it's a retelling of that. The Bible wasn't literally being wrote as things happened. We don't get language from the Bible. You assert that the word day comes from a Hebrew word, but Hebrew isn't the first language. So you literally have no argument, so the rest of this shit is pointless. It can be a metaphor. It is not the first use of the word day, or its Hebrew translated equivalent. If I, some random dumbass, can point out the flaw that destroys your argument that quick, you have a shit argument. But for the lulz, just because I have masochistic tendencies, let's see what supporting arguments you make. Wait, You've got to be fucking kidding me. Alright, this dumbass literally points out verses that say day can be used as a metaphor for 1,000 years, and yet this doesn't prove it's a metaphor because, well, take a guess. Yep, words can't be metaphors the first time they're used. God's fucking damn it. Alright, I don't care. I assume they're literal days too, so you know what? They are, I guess. But that wasn't our question anyway, now was it? No. Our question was why 6? And bonus, he even has an answer for how there were days before the sun and earth existed. So let's just get to that. As always, the key to the portal of bullshit is down in the pig pen, or in English. The link to the article is down in the description if you want to make the gears in your head come to a screeching halt, as they did for me. Or as you would call it, a headache. No, seriously. I worked on this in multiple sittings. I fucking had to. Here's the thing. Bacon Butt says that God took 6 days, and rested on the 7th, just because that's what he wanted humans to do. But doesn't say why he wants humans to do that, because fuck you. Wait, no. Christians, because God, and the way there were days, and light before there was a sun was because there was light coming from God, basically. I guess the sun is an extension of God's light, and he made it later because he knew people would worship the sun, and he didn't want them to, even though it's still a part of his creation, supposedly, so why not? So in conclusion, they are literal days because God, and it took 6 days because God, and we should believe this because God. Oh, and Sacred Salami here as a young Earth creationist, so he only addresses the whole thing of why did God wait billions of years after the creation of the universe, and therefore God himself, is he didn't. Even though everything says he did. Confused? Yes? Good. Confusion is the first step to brainwashing, I mean enlightenment.